adoption. I am so the story keeps playing, even though there's a spiritual acknowledgement that I'm not a victim.
Mm-hmm.
So they're happening. So it is an undoing, because it's like, well,
So you're because you're adopted. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, just say that, like, that wasn't my choice. So I
Mm.
feel very, like, it's that passion that I feel towards that victimization of being abandoned.
Yes, abandonment is a big deal.
And then to be adopted by a mom, I wouldn't say so much my dad, who really wasn't sure. She adopted us out of her own loneliness. So now I'm a victim again of abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
so that's
she's
scary.
filling her void with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I fill my void with, like we all do, it's like we haven't really done a lot of healing, but I'm feeling very aware of it.
Powerful.
Oh, I'm not a victim of the roles I see while my mind is going, but I am.
Yes, and what you said about, I think at one point just now you said, being adopted wasn't my choice.
Right.
Are you starting to see that differently?
I'm not sure if I see it that yet, but
Yeah.
I'm very open to seeing it differently.
Yeah.
And that I'm not a victim.
Yes.
But I know that this is played throughout my whole life. If somebody hurts me and I feel abandoned, if abandonment comes up, I blame them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like a victim.
Yeah.
It's constant.
I heard this term the other day. We all have a blame thrower. Let's turn down the blame thrower a little bit. Yeah. And it is this, yeah. We talked about the image of the backpack. We all have this stuff in our backpack, and subconsciously, we don't really know we have it on.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can feel the way I'm carrying the world on my shoulders. I can feel the burden. I can feel the ramifications in my body, but we still don't realize, because the backpack is the subconscious mind. It's buried. And so we subconsciously are reaching into it and trying to get rid of it by throwing it on to another. Even if we throw it onto ourselves, it's still an other relative to the mind.
I love that. Relative to the mind, even when we abandon, victimize ourselves.
Relative to the mind, even my personal body is an other.
Of course. I've never thought of that.
Yeah, so self-blame or blaming another are exactly the same. Yeah.
I've been thinking about this piece around worth when I think of adoption and abandonment and how I've treated myself in my life. Anyway, so just this idea of worth.
See,
comes up often.
and Lisa, we all have abandonment issues.
Yeah, right. We
right?
do.
Because you could be raised in the perfect family, the Beaver Cleavers, right? You could be raised by the Cleavers, excuse me, but still, you could be raised in this perfect environment, and then you'll still, if you didn't have parents who said, hey, now let's look at what are your feelings, what's coming up for you today. Let's keep bringing everything to the surface. You need parents that were basically Plato and Socrates in order to really cleanse the mind, and that's what we're here to do. And the family dynamic is amazing for bringing that up if we're willing to look at it.
Yeah.
And how many does it take to save the world? How many does it take to heal? One. You don't have to enlist every family member. You don't have to bring everybody into your healing. It's a simple change of mind, which is basically forgiveness. Deep, deep forgiveness, not for what you did to me, but I'm really forgiving myself for the idea that you could harm me. Yes, you could harm my body, but the only way you'll harm my mind is if I give you permission to, or if I want you to.
Right.
Because now I'm all fed by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a pretty vicious cycle. But one final point I wanted to make is the reason we all have abandonment issues, no matter what, is because ultimately we believe we left God. We believe we left heaven, which is the original sin. But
Right.
but it's just there is no sin. There's only mistaken thought. So I errantly believe that I abandoned God, which is the source, the ultimate source of all guilt.
I
It's
agree.
it's buried beneath, hey, you hit me. That's just that making its way to the surface. But and that's why we need to uncover enough of the stuff along the way to get to the root issue that I errantly believe I abandoned my creator, which is enormously guilt in producing.
Yeah.
Run away from home,
Yeah.
you're going to feel the guilt. You may hate your parents, you may feel like it's your only course of action to run away from home, but it will bring guilt.
Yeah.
We all ran away from our one home who loved us,
Yeah.
and it's like the sun and we're the rays. You can't. There is no difference. And so the guilt is so strong. We've actually turned that against God, and then we say, "Well, God abandoned us. Look at me
Of
here.
course.
Now I'm the victim of God Himself, not the not the one eternal, perfect, loving God, but the God now that the ego has miscreated."
Right.
And so,
Right. The
you know,
vengeful.
yeah, we have acts of God that destroy. We have, um, oh, God must have taken them back, or God this, God that, and it's always vengeful. It's always um, what's the word I'm looking for? It's always ambivalent. There's no, it applies to some and not others.
Right.
Like God actually has preferences,
Yeah.
which is
Right.
which is just a reflection of how we are, which is nonsense. So it's that's I'm so glad you brought that up. It's powerful, and it segues perfectly, Lisa, into the next lesson. I have invented the world I see. This is lesson number 32. Have a comfortable seat as if you're not already, and I'll just read this opening paragraph. Today, we are continuing to develop the theme of cause and effect. See, this goes back to that whole idea that inner and outer are the same. You are not the victim of the world you see because you invented it. You can give it up as easily as you made it up. You will see it or not see it as you wish. While you want it, you will see it. When you no longer want it, it will no longer be there for you to see. And reflecting back on some of the earlier lessons, I want to see. I want to see differently. I want to see through and with the eyes of love. And when I do that, it's saying you will no longer see the things that made you a victim of the world, because you will only see through the lens of love. See, we're just continually withdrawing the projection, withdrawing the blame, withdrawing the attack, and gently panning out, I guess zooming out and joining this ascension. It's why religious art often portrayed this ascension. It's this feeling of ascending, and yet our feet stay seemingly grounded in form. And that's how, when we see it differently, it changes. Today, you're going to lie on your back, but first, put the bolster lengthwise. I hope you have a bolster by now. You're going to sit on the end of the bolster and lie back with your head a little less supported than your sacrum. So make sure the sacrum is well supported. Now, if you don't have a bolster, you could take a blanket and roll it up nice and tight and just put it along the length of your spine. It doesn't take that much to have a little support here. Something so that your arms and shoulders are elevated off the floor even a little bit. And then bring your hands out into a T shape. Palms up toward the ceiling. Good. And just have a moment here. Keep your knees bent, your feet on the floor. You can follow along simply lying on the floor or your yoga mat too. Now, if it feels safe and you feel confident in doing so, inch back a little bit further so the head is perhaps a little less supported. We'll ensure that the sacrum is well supported. And then extend your legs out one at a time, about mat width apart. Enough apart so that you feel like you're not going to roll off the bolster. Good. Close your eyes, turn your head to the right. Sometimes it's in a moment like this where the light and the love just seems to pour in. And if that's happening for you, just be a conduit for that love and that light. Let it come through. It doesn't come into us, it comes through us. The body is a communication device, which means it's not a stopping point, it's not an end point to anything. And see if you can have a point where your arms can be fully relaxed and the elbows slightly bent. If that's not the case, then bring them down by your sides a bit until you can really, really relax and let go. Maybe there's sensation. And we'll welcome the sensation, but we won't tolerate pain, not in the yoga. Slowly turn your head through the center. Try not to lift your head. Go super slow and let your head and throat, your head heavy, your throat open as you make the turn. You're not seeing how far you can turn it. You're seeing how far you can turn it. You're seeing what resistance shows up along the way. And that resistance you work with. I have invented the world I see. See, the ego cannot create. Only God creates. The ego makes. The ego invents. The ego innovates. But it cannot create. And the Bible, the line in the Bible, it says we are created in the likeness and image of our Creator. In truth, we are creations. And the same love and the same light that created us is extended through us. So we begin to replace the projection, the ego's use of projection, we begin to replace it with extension. We extend love and light through us for our own healing. And we look and we wait and we judge not. We don't try to inflict healing onto others. I have invented the world I see. Today we are continuing to develop the theme of cause and effect. You are not the victim of the world you see because you invented it. You made it up. You can give it up as easily as you made it up. You will see it or not see it as you wish. See, the ego wishes to see it as something special, that my victimhood is particularly unique and impossible to get out of. No, that's just how we wish to see it. We're all misfits here. We each want to capitalize on it. We're all misfits in this world. The good news is we're not of this world. It's our yoga. It's the goal of a lifetime to realize that and join with the truth that is beyond it. Bring your head back to the center. Now, if you're using a bolster and the sensation is becoming too strong on your neck or your head, then scoot back down. Be sure that there's no dizziness, or some people are prone to headaches, even vertigo in this shape. Don't be afraid of that. Just gently make the changes that help you feel supportive here. Arms back down by your sides. To diminish the impact on your low back here, you can also bend your knees up and have your feet on the floor. If your low back is pinchy in any way, yep, you just bend your knees up. That's fine. Now take hold of your elbows up toward the ceiling. Take hold of your elbows and make a little effort to get the tip of each elbow toward the center of each palm. And feel this supported, sustainable back bend that you're experiencing. And slowly start to lower your arms overhead. Don't let your grip slip. Don't fight it. How could we fight the shape and heal simultaneously? How could we try to advance the shape and heal simultaneously? No, we can't. We heal by joining. Yoga joins, and to join is to heal. Yes. Your eyes are closed. You're feeling into your shoulders. You're working according to the sensation that shows up for you. We're here to heal. That's the purpose we give the practice. It's the purpose we begin to give every single instant and moment of our lives. Now, feel your legs. If you bent your knees, your feet on the floor, just feel your legs, feel your feet, feel through your center. Keep your head heavy and relaxed, and slowly raise your arms back up. That's nice. Slow, thoughtful movement. Once back up, switch the cross of your forearms. Firm the grip. This will probably be the awkward version, so make an attempt nevertheless to get the tip of the elbow toward the center of each palm. Firm your grip and lower slowly again. This is the movement of putting on a t-shirt or, pulling a shirt on or off over your head. It's a helpful movement. We're going to gently get it back, or for some, just simply maintain it through these movements for a lifetime. In paragraph 2, it says, the idea for today, like the preceding ones, applies to your inner and outer worlds, which are actually the same. However, since you see them as different, the practice periods today will include two phases, one involving the world you see outside, and the other, the world you see in your mind. In today's exercises, try to introduce the thought that both are in your own imagination. The outer world and the inner world are both inventions. They happen to be the same. They seem different, but I've invented them. Slowly raise your arms up. And once your arms are up, rest them at your sides. Very gently roll onto one side. Curl up. Bring the bolster under your head or support with your bottom arm. Just curl up and feel the shape again. And then when you're ready, push yourself up and find a comfortable seat. Just sitting comfortably. Soften into your structure. If you're sitting in a chair or leaning against the wall, just really rely on the wall and let your body adapt to the shape. After a pretty long extension of the spine, feel your spine, feel your body adapting. And this lesson is asking us to look at the inner and the outer. We seem to have this body on the outer, And we can think about it, we can feel it, we can envision it from the inside, the mind. Bring your hands to your heart as an outer reflection of this fact. I am the dreamer of my dream. I seem to be in this body. I've made myself the main character of my dream, which is what we do in our dreams. How else could I have invented the world I see if it weren't for me being the dreamer of my dream? Namaste.